Was it disrespectful that Matas Buzleis was left off the list of potential players that could win the Rookie of the Year award? We're going to be talking about this ESPN ranking and what this means for Matas Buzleis, what this means for the Chicago Bulls. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we jump into today's hot topic of the day, I want to go ahead and share a special message from today's sponsor of the video, Fume. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code DIGEST to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory to your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfume.com and use the code DIGEST, or you can scan the QR code on the screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Go to tryfume.com/digest or scan the QR code and use the code DIGEST to get your free Fume base when you order your journey pack today. All right, so we're talking about Matas Buzleis, and we're talking about how he should have been on the list to be a player that could win the Rookie of the Year award. And I just think that right off top, Matas Buzleis looks like a player that is going to make an impact for the Chicago Bulls. In fact, Stacey King said on his podcast, Give Me the Hot Sauce, that Matas Buzleis should be a player that right out of the gate should at least see 20 minutes a game. You have some NBA players and coaches who called his game during the summer leagues and said that he absolutely is a player that is going to be impactful from day one. And I think that a lot of them are saying that he's also going to put the league on note. And I feel like regardless, as a Chicago Bulls fan, if you feel like he should start or if he should come off the bench, I think that we can all agree that Matas Buzleis should absolutely get some playing time, and he is probably going to make an impact from day one. Now, with that being said, we are looking at an article that suggests that Matas Buzleis is not going to be in the running for the Rookie of the Year, which I think is disrespectful, but let's take a look at what they said. And so they have Reed Shepard being number one. They have Zach Eddey. They have Donovan Clegan. You see that they have Stephon Castle, Rob Dillhagm, Alex Sarr, and Zachary there at the top six. And so I think immediately I'm saying to myself, I feel like Zach Eddey, in my opinion, is going to be the favorite, okay? Because I think that he is going into a situation where he is going to get a lot of high usage. I think that when you look at Memphis and they get everybody back, I think that that is going to be a huge benefit for Zach Eddey. I feel like he's probably a better center right now than maybe what Steven Adams was for them. I went back and I looked at his time during his play with the Grizzlies, and I'm talking about Steven Adams. He averaged about 8.6 points a game and 11 rebounds. I feel like Zach Eddey can be a double-double player right off the bat. You know he's going to get some block shots. And I feel like offensively, just as far as that turnaround hook shot or the turnaround shot that he has, I think that that is going to get him some points. You have to think that Ja Morant and him in the pick and roll is going to be scary. The misses that Ja Morant has at the rim, that's going to give Zach Eddey a lot of opportunities to clean up. And then the floor spacing, right? You get Jaren Jackson Jr., who is going to slide into his natural fit, which is the four. He's going to stretch the floor a little bit. So I think that that is going to help Zach Eddey and his usage rate. And I think that that is going to put him right in line with being the Rookie of the Year. And I think that that is one thing that we're going to talk about is usage rate, because that is going to be critical, I think, for any rookie to go out there and win that award. And so next with Reed Shepard, I think it is a bit high. And now I love his game. I think that logo Reed Shepard can absolutely shoot the basketball. I mean, he has a deep offensive bag, but let's be honest. I mean, he is going to a loaded Houston Rockets team. They have Jalen Green, they have Van Fleet, they have AJ Griffin. Like, there are players that are ahead of him, and I'm not sure how much usage rate he's going to get in those situations, because I don't know if Houston is necessarily going to rely on him to close out games or put him in situations and feature him like they did in the summer league. So I think that is a bit high for me. All right. And so next with Rob Dillhagm, I think he's going into a favorable situation. Again, I'm not sure how much Minnesota is going to really use him like that in particularly year one. I could see it happening a little bit more as injuries happen, but this team is extremely young, and I think that is probably he's running into the same situation as Reed Shepard. All right, and so after that, I think that this is where it really heats up, and I think that you can really argue that Matas Buzleis should at least be on the list, because when you think about him coming off the bench, all right, let's say that he's coming off with Lonzo Ball, and I talked about Lonzo being 75 to 80% in that open run. If he's 75 to 80%, all right, and he's able to take contact, he's able to compete defensively, laterally, he's fine. There's no minutes restriction. Like, I can imagine that is going to be a great situation for Matas Buzleis just off the bench. He's out there with Ayo. Both of those players are filling the lane. That's going to be exciting. Right now, we have Jalen Smith, who is coming off the bench. He's not the starter just yet. You can imagine the lobs, the up-tempo we're getting there. And then who knows what they're going to do with Kenny Lofton Jr. or Sonogo. And then we haven't even mentioned Dalen Terry or Julian Phillips. Like, there is the potential that lineup could be really, really good for the Chicago Bulls. And that's the bench. All right. And so then when you think about the fact that he could possibly start, that means that Zach Lavine, maybe he's traded. Patrick Williams doesn't necessarily get off to a great start or gets injured. I mean, I feel like that those are opportunities where Matas Buzleis can come in, and I feel like he can work immediately well with Josh Giddey and with Kobe White. If Vooch leaves as well, then that's going to open it up and give him some more minutes. So I think that this is where Matas Buzleis should definitely be in the conversation. I don't know if he's going to win it, but I think he is definitely going to for sure make it close if he gets the minutes that I think he is going to get. And I think that this probably has to do a lot with nobody really knows what the Chicago Bulls are going to do, especially since they have veterans on the roster and they're supposedly going to this youth movement. They haven't fully pivoted into that. And so I think that maybe that's why he's not on the list. But still, I think that regardless of that, he should have absolutely been on the list. And so that leads me to, what the list would look like. And I'm going to Sam Smith, who used to write and cover for the Chicago Bulls, and he had done a piece about why Matas Buzleis should possibly start. But this was his list. He had Matas Buzleis, he had Reed Shepard, he had Castle, he had Dalton Connect, and he had Bub Carrington. I like Bub Carrington, and I want to slide Zach Eddey in there instead of Dalton Connect. I think that would probably be my top rookies, in my opinion. I think that when you look at Bub Carrington, I think that he has the potential to be more efficient as a rookie than Sarr. And I think, I'm not sure what the Wizards really want to do with Jordan Poole. So that's what suggests to me that there's going to be some high usage for him. With Castle, they have Chris Paul over there. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with that. With Clegan, who is mentioned in the other list, I'm not so sure about that because he still has DeAndre Ayton on the floor. He's still got Robert Williams too. So he has players that could potentially be ahead of him. And he's going to be heavily reliant on Scoot Henderson and players like that to take the next leap. So I'm not sure that his usage rate is going to suggest that he would win the Rookie of the Year award, which is another reason why I think players like Matas Buzleis should step in there based off of the usage rate. And then then finally, when we look at the draft class as a whole, I think that one of the players that's not listed that I'd absolutely list out there is going to be Kel'el Ware. I think that Kel'el Ware, in my opinion, could be the surprise in this particular draft to possibly reach the Rookie of the Year award. I know he's going into a good situation with the Miami Heat, but you got to imagine Bam and then Kel'el Ware with Jimmy Butler, with Tyler Hero, with Jaime Jaquez Jr. Like, that is going to be an interesting lineup, and I think that they are going to play a much faster tempo, which in my opinion, that would work out for Kel'el Ware. And if he's able to do the things that we saw in the Summer League, he could probably immediately start to take those leaps that we saw Bam take. So I could see there is a situation where he, in fact, could maybe win the Rookie of the Year award or at least be on the list. And so that leads me to you, the viewers. I've said my spill, but do you think that it's disrespectful that Matas Buzleis has not been listed on this ESPN list? Do you feel like he absolutely could win the Rookie of the Year award? And do you agree in the sense that, yes, a player like Kel'el Ware could be the surprise in getting the Rookie of the Year award? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. And as usual, I just want to thank you for liking and sharing and watching the videos, and let you know that 66.9% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel. So please continue to slam dunk on that subscribe button for me, as it would mean a lot as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers. And look, I want to thank Fume for being the sponsor of today's video. And even though I think they're disrespecting our rookie, Matas Buzleis, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.